over or under, how much footage do you think I'm gonna have to sort through after today? In hundreds of gigabytes.
In hundreds of gigabytes? Like, how many pieces of content do you think you're going to get, or how much do you think
I'm going to have in Google Drive when this is over?
Oh, dude, I don't think Google Drive is going to be able to hold it.
I'll have to upgrade.
Yeah.
Oh, my number is over under 500.
Yeah, there's going to be at least 400 or 500 gigabytes. And
if these are shooting in 4K, we might be 800.
It's going to be a lot of toilet time sifting through videos.
4K 10-bit S-Log.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know when he throws out the S-Log?
Yeah, bro. Poogling's out, and now you're into clip farming on the toilet with all the content.
Oh my God.
I wonder how much great content actually comes from people clipping on the toilet. It's probably a man thing. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't spend a lot of time on the toilet though. I'm like a 30-second guy.
Yeah, well, you ask our friend here who's a dad, and he might say otherwise, because that's kind of the sanctuary.
Throne time is the only alone time.
Throne time.
Throne time.
Oh man.
I'll have you go first.
You let me go first.
Yeah.
All right. Where do we begin?
Yeah. So what's your backstory? What brings you here today?
First of all, I'm going to take off my Clark Kent glasses because I'm not Superman. My backstory, my name is Nadim Al Hassan, and it does have a hyphen in it. I know it throws a lot of people off oftentimes when they see me. My father's Jordanian, my mother's Palestinian, and they met a long, long time ago. And my dad owns pizza restaurants. He's owned pizza restaurants for almost 50 years in the Dallas area. And I bring that up because I was conceived between shifts at the pizza restaurant. So
we're getting detailed.
I'm going back to the origins of the backstory.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, parents split when I was 7.
We do have 90 minutes, by the way.
Parents split when I was 7. Love them both. There's always love in the house. Never felt not loved or appreciated or just taken care of. But they split for whatever reasons. They're still, great friends. And dad stayed in Dallas. Mom and siblings. I'm one of 8. Kind of a broken family. Like broken in the sense of same mom, different dad, same mom. All of us get along. But I got, I lose count. There's 8. There's 6 of us from my dad, and there's 3 from my mom. One of them's, yeah. Is this mathin'? I have a step sibling too. But nonetheless, that's like the quickest backstory on just where I came from, because that's not the juicy part, right? I could spend a whole day talking about all that. But what really, if I were to talk about what shaped me into my backstory is the sport of martial arts, or is the sport of wrestling. And I got into wrestling because I had a stepdad who was just a douche. And I was like, dude, I'm never going to get fucking picked on by this douche, whatever. He's like 350, 6'5". I don't know. He probably would have smashed me still. But I was like, fuck that. And so I lived out in the woods. I lived in the sticks in Missouri. Okay. So my punishment, for whatever reason, if he felt like, I put my backpack in the wrong spot, he'd be like, you got to go do chores now or whatever. And it was like hauling wheelbarrows of gravel from you have to go down the hill, fill this wheelbarrow up with gravel, and then truck it back up and then put it in our driveway. It was like a way of putting gravel in our dirt driveway. Or it was like chopping wood. But I was like, joke's on you, dude. I was like, I fucking love this. I was like, I'm just getting jacked, and this is making me so much stronger for wrestling. But I got into wrestling when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I wrestled all throughout up until college. Got a scholarship to Bacone College in Oklahoma. Wrestled there for a little bit. Dropped out after just under 2 years because I was like, why am I here? This is not what I want to be doing at all. I was actually never solid with academics at all. I was definitely a CB student for sure. Never an A student. Mm-hmm. Would not be considered as an accelerator in academia. But in college, I had a wrestling coach who benefited from the use of cannabis. And it was the first time as the self-proclaimed pothead that I'd ever seen cannabis be used as an actual medicine. And I was like, oh shit, this is wild. And this is, mind you, 2008. This is a long time. It was 2008. And I'm like, whoa, I've never seen somebody use cannabis as a medicine. This is just blowing my mind. I just use it because it's fucking makes me feel good after wrestling. And like I don't know, I feel like cannabis follows the martial arts space a lot. Like a lot of any clique I was ever in martial arts, there was always cannabis around. And this old wrestling coach had Crohn's disease, and he would literally like smoke a joint, like hit it like one or two hits, and then like he'd be back to normal. And I'd be like, whoa! I'm like, here's a badass dude who I admire a lot. That this whatever this disease was, this Crohn's disease would cripple him. And when he would use cannabis and just like a little bit, not like the blunts me and the homies were rolling, he would literally just like hit it once or twice and then be back to normal. And I was like, what the fuck was that? I got to understand this. And so I ended up picking up a book by this guy named Jorge Cervantes. He was like the OG in cannabis. And it's called Jorge Cervantes Grow Bible. So I learned as much as I could about growing. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to move out west and I'm going to grow cannabis. So I made my way out west. My mom lived in Arizona. I was like, I don't want to go out there. I went to California, made my way to Venice area because it's like, California's the Mecca, right? Made my way out there. It was awesome. Saw these drum circles and I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I'm going to end up in that fucking drum circle, and that's going to be the end of my life right there. Like, that's not going to be it. I think there's a Nadim that actually still lives in that existence out there, like in that drum circle. But I was like, that's not going to work. So I landed in Arizona because they were pushing for the third time to go legal, to go medically legal. And I was like, oh, it's going to pass. Like, it's really looking like it's going to pass. As soon as I moved there in 2009, I immediately got into growing. I just was doing like closet grows. And as soon as it passed in 2010, dude, I went and got my license. I got my caregiver license. It was called the AMMA, Arizona Medical Marijuana Act. And you could essentially be assigned patient rights, and I could grow for people. So I could grow up to like 72 or 76 plants. And so just through that time and navigating that gray area, which was technically the state laws, I was a cultivator. And so what happens is when you learn to grow cannabis and now you can grow up to, 76, let's just say 75 plants, I had way too much pot. I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, I definitely don't want this. I was like, this is way too much. I was like, what am I going to do with all this? Right. Well, I come from a family of cooks. So my dad, as I mentioned, has the pizza restaurant. My mom's a chef. And I was like, yeah, you can turn this into like butter and coconut oil, like anything fat, right? That you can, like anything with fat, you can use to essentially extract the THC and a lot of the yummy stuff from cannabis. And so you effectively go from having pounds of cannabis to like little mason jars of butter, right? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this makes me feel better, right? I'm like, okay, great. And so I was like, oh fuck, dude, butter, coconut oil, you can put it in anything, like anything. Yeah. You can cook anything. We were making like prime. We were like making prime ribs, dude, and like injecting it with like all like olive oil infused with cannabis and like garlic. Like we're talking like meals, dude, real meals, not just like brownies and cookies and shit. Like no, and it was awesome, and that really started to take off in the Arizona space, and so started like providing to the local collectives, and that's what they were called before dispensaries. It's like while the dispensaries were coming online, so like they weren't quite opened yet. And so that went on for a few years. So I really established myself in providing like edibles, a lot of like savory sweets too, but like a lot of like the cook stuff. We'd make like Alfredo sauces and marinara sauces and like can them, you know what I mean? And,
out of your wheat.
Out of the butters and the oils, dude. Okay. It was delicious. And it was fantastic.
That's a new one.
Oh, so good. And so we had I skipped the piece. We had a restaurant in Arizona called Little Demo's Family Bistro. Okay. My name is Demo. That's my nickname. I don't know if you knew that.
I got it from the email, Little Demo.
Yeah.
LittleDemo@gmail.com.
Yeah, Little Demo's Family Bistro. God, that's a whole nother story, man. But so it started really popping off, like dropping all these edibles off, and really kind of like established a name, if you will. Didn't really have a name for like what the business was. It wasn't a legal. Well, it was a legal business, but it's not something I could go file an LLC for and file taxes for or something.
Right.
And so over the years, like it just kept growing and growing and growing. More and more collectives. The first dispensary opened up in 2011. So it took almost 2011 November. So it had been legal for almost 2 years now in Arizona. Well, they put in a law. This is like the art of lobbying. So they put in a law because as a caregiver, I could grow. I was legally allowed to grow.
Right.
But when the dispensaries went in, they put a law in that you can't grow within a 25-mile radius of a dispensary.
Okay.
Well, I lived 4 miles from the first dispensary that opened, so I was technically immediately a felon again. I was like, well, I got to shut down this whole $20,000 fucking grow op. You know, I can't do this here.
Flip that. That's a hook, by the way.
Oh,
I was immediately a felon again. Cut.
Not again. I got a clean slate. Just want to make that clear for the record.
I want that stricken.
Clean slate. But so I was like, oh well, shit. What am I gonna do? And so these collectives, like the dispensaries, really start popping up everywhere. I mean, you fast forward today, there's like 125 dispensaries, I think, in Arizona, and there's like 4% of the state where you can legally grow. It's called Tonopah. Who the fuck's gonna live out in Tonopah? No one. So they said, yeah, you can still grow. This is during the medical time. Now it's rec. I think you can grow like a plant or something. And I was like, yeah, well, this isn't gonna work. Well, I got an invitation from one of the collectives that I had I'd rented like a room out of to sell edibles. They were like, hey, we're opening up a dispensary in Olympia, Washington. Why don't you come help set up the grows there? Like, we would really love that and really help that. And I was like, that sounds cool. That sounds like, again, another mecca of cannabis. Like, it was like Cannabis University, bro. And so I moved up there. I set up a 2,500 square foot grow indoor, and then I helped set up a 2-acre grow with a group as well. And I lived in this house, dude, in Yelm, Washington, which is about 45 minutes from Olympia. And I lived on an earthworm casting farm with some Willie Nelson looking dudes that had long ass beards, the overalls, probably never clipped their toenails. And it was one of the coolest times in my life. Like, I was isolated out there with these guys, which is cool. Like, they were cool. I didn't know anybody, but I got to know them really well. And dude, they taught me so much about just cultivating in general. And it's something that has stuck with me my entire life. Because I love gardening, dude. I'm with Green Thumb. You've been to my house. I got 45 plants in there. Yeah, it's just crazy. And I love it. And like, that's just house plants. That's not like food, And so they were always cracking on me, man, because I was using big buds and like these different basically chemicals to like make your plants really grow, and like really get the most out of them. They're like, dude, you don't need any of that shit. And they taught me how to use fertilizer. They taught me how to make what's called hot soil. So it's like bat guano and like bird guano, and you get different nutrients like phosphorus, potassium, and you make these big batches. I put out like a 20 by 20 foot tarp. And I get all this soil, right? Cocoa peat and really good quality soil, put all these nutrients in it, fold it over, put it in these big 50-gallon barrels, and then you lock it and you put it in the sun and you let it sit for like 3 months. Well, it's called hot soil. So that soil becomes super dense in nutrients, and then you use that and you put them in these like really tight or like 100, 150 micron bags, and you put these in 55-gallon barrels of water. And so now you feed your plants with this water. So this water is now just loaded with like the creme de la creme Earth's nutrients. Okay, and so it was the best cannabis. It's like this is as good as you can get, like truly as best as you can get, all organic. So they taught me a lot about cannabis.
Is that what took you into owning your company? Like,
yep. And so in 2013, so I was there in Washington for about 2 years. In 2013. I don't remember exactly the month, but Denver, Colorado was the first city, and Colorado being the first state, to go recreationally legal. Okay. And so I had a dream, which was like, I'm going to be on the cover of High Times magazine. That was like the pinnacle. Like that was, getting on stage and winning. Right. Okay. Like that was it. And High Times magazine goes back to the 70s. A guy named Dan Forte started this magazine, and it was just like. It's the pinnacle. And they always had these competitions called High Times Cannabis Cups in either Amsterdam or Spain. It was never in America. Well, they're coming to America. So I was like, oh shit, this is the opportunity. And so the first recreational cup was in 2014 in Denver, Colorado. And I said, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get there. And I had moved back to Arizona. I had a friend who just moved back or who just got out of the military, didn't really know what he was going to do with his life, wanted to go to school to be a doctor, and was pursuing that. And I was like, bro, you can help so many more people this way. I'm like, why are you going to be a doctor? He's like, I want to help people. I'm like, you can help so many more people this way. I'm like, you're going to turn and burn people every 15 minutes.
I know you want to be a doctor, but like be a pothead instead.
Come on, bro. This is going to be way better. Like we're going to help so many more people. And we did. And so he really didn't like to be on the front end of things, which is totally fine. Like, so he was really good with chemistry and stuff. And so, it was a way for him to like, lick his chops and get into it. And so I was like, how about this? Just make as many fucking edibles as possible. I'm going to give you everything you need to make it. Let's go, halves on this, like 50-50. I'll bring you in on this thing that I got going on. Just a handshake deal. Didn't know shit about business then. Not the best move. when you grow it to a $10 million business, you're like, it wasn't smooth. But nonetheless, the motto is always just like, make as many edibles as you can. He'd be like, well, how many units do I need? Like, how many batches do we need? I'm like, make as many fucking edibles as you can. I will sell them all. Like, all, okay? Like, it just happens through conversation. It happens with, like, meeting people, like, calling every single, dispensary. And, like, it just one thing led to another. And so the High Times Cannabis Cup was coming, and I was like, hey, we got to go to this thing. He's like, dude, you're fucking high. And I probably was at that time. I was like, we probably both were. Probably just smoking it over a blunt. And I was like, all right, I was like, let's do this, bro. Like, we can go to the Cannabis Cup. And so the house that I lived in, my mom's house at that time, she was a baker and a mover and a shaker as well, and a grower. And so, dude, God bless her. I love her so much. We made probably 10,000 brownies, and upward of probably 15,000 packages of gummies.
Damn.
Yeah. And we called them Sour Kush Kids.
Okay.
And so they were essentially Sour Patch Kids.
Okay.
But I was ahead of the game because Arizona the market was still new to like hash oils and extracts.
Yeah.
Okay. And Washington, that shit is like 10 years old. They've been doing that for a long time.
Right.
So there's this stuff called Rick Simpson oil, RSO. Really potent stuff. Really is incredible. Just look it up. It's fantastic. People, they used to use it. A guy named Rick Simpson created it, healed his skin cancer with it, and a lot of other people. I am the first person to say that cannabis is not a cure. It's not a cure for cancer. It's not a cure for ailments, but I've seen it cure. I've seen it firsthand, multiple times, dozens of times. Tumors, skin cancer, multiple times.
Wow.
And so it's one of those things where it's like, I never tell somebody it's a cure, but I've seen it work multiple times. And so convicted is what I'm getting at. I was convicted. And so I had so much RSO, this hash oil. And I'm like, what if we coated these gummies with this? So at the time, we had a formulation where we would like use the Rick Simpson oil with like this corn syrup. And bro, I was like, how are we going to coat these? I got a fucking cement mixer. And I started putting these gummies half this room was filled with boxes.
Damn.
Wholesale of gummies, dude. Wholesale. We were going to like different like states to buy these, like boxes of them. And so we'd put them in this mixer and we'd mix, and we had like a whole formula to get them dosed to approximately about 8 to 10 milligrams per gummy. We're also one of the first companies, like we pioneered testing in Arizona. Like they took brands off the shelves because they didn't have testing. And we were the only ones that were doing third-party lab testing on our packaging. So they were like, this has to be a standard. So anyways.
Okay. Was that what set you apart in your company compared to
100%?
Could you get a little bit more into the specifics of the business, just for everybody?
Oh yeah.
And like, because knowing you and having known you for like 8-9 months, I think everybody would be really curious to know about how you working in the cannabis industry and not having access to the traditional forms of marketing, how you were still able to build a company with the enterprise value that you have. Oh, yeah. With one hand or even both hands tied behind your back.
Yeah. So great question. It'll go full circle. So we made as many edibles as humanly possible, and I drove probably 10 life sentences across state lines from Arizona to Denver in a U-Haul.
Can we get a fact check on statute of limitations real quick?
And so I drove a U-Haul with like those Husky bins, like filled to the brim. Because I was calling the guy at, I think it was Rick Cusick or whatever. I was calling the guy at High Times and I was like, bro, how can we bring edibles? Can we sell edibles? Is it for donation? Like, what's the thing? And I called him so many times and he literally was like, Nadeem, think of a cannabis farmer's market. It's going to be the world's largest, country's largest cannabis farmers market. I was like, say less. So we packed everything up, drove it there. Everybody was hesitant because they didn't know. We didn't know the laws. Well, we were one of like few out of like probably 400 booths that actually had stuff to sell for donation. And we sold every single piece. So we made about $100,000 cash. So it was the most money I'd ever had in my life. And that was what set it apart, dude, because we ended up winning the High Times Cannabis Cup.
Gotcha.
So got that award that I was talking about.
Yep.
And we started getting letters from dispensaries in Arizona. So then shit started getting really real.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay.
We met a guy. He was he was the founder of Blimpies, and he mentored like us a little bit. And that was the first operating agreement that I was ever a part of, and like started learning about operating agreements. And I learned really quickly that operating agreements are out of love.
Yeah.
They're out of love for the other person. If someone has a problem with an operating agreement, don't do business with them.
Right.
Right? That's where I am today.
Yeah.
And understand as much as you can about the operating agreement, ask questions about the operating agreement, and set up, just, protect yourself best possible. Ask questions. And so I like to say now, for those who do know me, I run a business called Somatic Breathwork, which is a trauma-informed training for coaches, therapists, and practitioners. And so we like to say trauma is too much, too fast. And that applies to business as well. Because I was 23 at this time, and this business grew to 55 employees and 116 locations. We were a manufacturer and distributor. We're not a retailer. And everything from producing the edibles to hiring people to marketing campaigns to business agreements to sales to delivering. You name it, was doing it all. Now, to answer your question specifically, we couldn't market cannabis.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't run ads.
Right.
Like
because it's federally illegal,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
locally legal.
But they still love their 51% state tax. I'll tell you that.
They want their cake.
They want their cake.
Have it their way.
And so while it's like there's a part of me that's like, damn, I missed that boat, but not really. While Facebook ads were really popping off.
Yeah, like 2013, they started ripping.
We couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right. And so it wasn't even like a thing. I was like, well, we can't fucking do it. So we got to think of other ways.
Right.
So we got into like real guerrilla marketing, man. Like, brought in our boy Kevin, who's in this agency with us, me, you, and Derek, and brought him on as an educator because he's my boy's wicked smart. And then he's a major in psychology, double major. Yeah, major in psychology, just wicked smart, man. And somebody who had the love for cannabis like I did, but also understand it, saw it from a different lens. And he became our creative director at Bake Bros. And dude, we went on to do, $500,000, $1 million campaigns, all guerrilla marketing, street advertisements, wrapping vehicles, doing billboards.
So that's what you mean by guerrilla marketing.
Yeah,
it's just like impressions where people already were.
When like Hermosi, when he talks about that staple story of like he printed 500 flyers.
Yeah, and the guy's like, I test with 5,000.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we were printing hundreds of thousands of flyers a year.
Wow,
dude,
okay.
Hundreds of thousands, and like putting them out. Tickets, coupons. And we found that the bud tenders were really our end to the dispensary. Okay, the bud tenders were the people who were selling the cannabis at dispensaries.
Okay,
and so we ended up getting a guy on our team from Apple, and he really started shaping things around. I remember he asked me, he was like, hey, can you show me when we brought him on the team, he's like, can you show me your CRM? And I was like, yeah. And I like picked up my phone and I was like, here you go. He's like, what's that? And I was like, well, this is all the contacts that I have. And he's like, and I showed him, I was like, yeah, this is Ginny from, XYZ dispensary. And he's like, who's Ginny Wholesale?
Jenny, parentheses, weed client.
And he's like, all right. And so I really give a lot of reverence and credit to him because he taught me what a CRM was. Mm-hmm. And I would say that is like one of the core functions that I provide to all of the businesses that I've been a part of now, and especially the business that, we've created together. But through all of that I just shared and the rapid growth of that, hiring, firing, failing, losing $500,000 batches of cannabis or packaging. That was a big one, man. Big one. We'd print $500,000 worth of packaging, and then law changes overnight, and you're like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
So like hard lessons of like, dude, just do a plastic bag and a label. Just people don't care. They're going to rip it open. They're going to eat it. They're going to get high. Fuck it. You know?
Yeah.
But we did have the most gangster packaging. Most gangster. And like, it was the good times too, man, because like there was no like ChatGPT or AI to like brainstorm with. We literally would,
Get fried,
maybe a little bit of mushrooms, dude,
Yeah.
stay up late, at the office, and like we would copyright, dude, and we would come up with stories, dude, and like it was on the packaging, it was so much fun. And I ended up getting to a point to where like the soul was gone. Like this cannabis market, I'm like 11 years in now. The cannabis market had gotten so political. I lost my love for it. It was no longer like transforming people. Like sure, we were selling tens of thousands of units and like people were getting benefit from it, but like it lost its soul for me. And man, that just ate me up. That ate me up big time. Like it ate me up big time. And so
was that the turning point to what you do now with
Yeah.
Somatic, and then eventually with what we do inside the agency?
yeah, man. So ended up going to like a plant medicine space, and we did this breath work, and it was in Costa Rica, and it was like diaphragmatic breathing, big belly breathing, and you do it for an hour, and dude, it was a psychedelic experience with no exogenous substances. And I was like, what the fuck was that? I'm like, I just met my maker.
Yeah.
What was that? And like, I remember this teacher or a shaman, he was like, you don't need this medicine. And I was like, well, I just flew fucking 8 hours, so I'm doing it. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, okay?
Yeah.
I'm here.
Could this have been in the FAQ section at the bottom of the landing page?
But I was so enamored with this breath work that we had done.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And this is 2017 or 18. I was like, I got to learn everything I can about this.
Okay.
And that put me down a path. Not a lot of people were doing it. And it was just something that I fell in love with, man. And I met this other guy. He's now a business partner, and he was really into it. And, we ended up building and growing this thing. He wanted to build this business, somatic breathwork. And he's the classic archetype that we help within Praxis, our agency.
Right.
He's the poet. He's the teacher archetype.
The creator, the visionary,
the visionary, the founder, right? It's coming through him.
Yeah.
Right? No idea then of what a business is or how to run a business.
Yeah,
Just
the
like
operational side of it,
correct,
the technical, the mechanics.
And just like me with Bake Bros, he's learned over time. But when I transitioned and sold Bake Bros to my partner, I had no idea what I was gonna do. I didn't even know what the fuck I knew. I'm like, I got no skills. I'm a pothead, for the last like 12 years.
I didn't think I'd make it this far.
I don't know shit, man. I'm like, what do I do? And like, I did an Amazon business, dude. I did one of the whole Amazon
FBA
things, broke even on it. It was fun. I was like, fuck this. I don't want to sell widgets anymore. I'm done selling widgets. No more widgets. And I ended up, I was talking with Jaggers, the founder of the Somatic company, and we were at Lifetime one day, and I was like, dude, I can help you scale this thing. And I was like, have you heard of this thing called Kajabi? And he's like, oh man, I was actually talking to this other guy, and he's like, he hates Kajabi.
I'm a Kajabi hater, by the way.
He hates Kajabi. I love Kajabi.
That is on the record.
I love Kajabi. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all my customer service tickets that I put in with you. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
You've done great.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was actually talking to this guy that, knows all about Kajabi. Well, the very next day, Steven comes back. He's like, I drained my bank accounts. He's like, I have $2,000 in my name. I bought it for the year. I'm all in. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, let's go.
Let's go.
I couldn't get involved because of what I was, going through with Bake Bros. That was the name of the company. the cannabis company. That's the logo right there. Some guy tattooed it on his head, and I was like, I can't let this guy, tattoo our logo. I was like, bro, you get free edibles for any dispensary you go to. Just text us.
Yeah.
And so, I had no idea what I was gonna do, man. And one thing led to another. I was like, hey, I think I can help you like scale this thing. And I'm like, there's no operations. Like we got to figure out the operations of this thing. And dude, one thing led to another. Started getting into the CRM. Got it. Like I set up Monday for him. I did all the ops. I did all the like landing pages. I did all the email marketing. And one thing led to another. Then you start learning about Zapier, and then you start learning about what's now Make, and then I got to get into like traditional marketing, right? Like copy.
You're like, oh,
emails, ads, which we still didn't even do for quite a while. Reels were blowing up, which really supported our business. Like we ripped organic. And yeah, man. And then I started doing the sales. Like I ran probably 1.3, 1.4 in sales, like myself, just in like one-on-one calls. And then it's like one thing led to another. Slowly started growing. Brought Derek in. Derek took over sales. And he made it even bigger. And he now, runs multiple people on the sales team. And so all that to say, as a backstory, is all the wrestling taught me just mad grit, mad pressure, keep going, don't stop. I think if you ask any of my friends, that's how they would describe me, is just like a lot of pressure and probably a workhorse. Thanks, Dad. It's served me and also been a poison at the same time. And now Somatic is crushing. Like it's doing great. It's had its ups and downs, and met you in June of June. I want to end on this story because I went to a workshop here in Vegas. Mm-hmm. This lady heard me talking, and it was one of your clients, and both your clients were there actually. But one of your clients heard me talk. She was like, "Hey, you gotta meet this young guy. His name's Kevin. He helped me get my call funnel from like 8% to like 30% in like 4 weeks, something like that."
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I need to talk to the guy. I was like, for sure. And in my head too, you don't know this, dude, but I'd been telling my fiance at the time, I was like, I gotta find someone who's like 10 years younger than me, that is just like smarter than me, that has like the grit that I can just rip with and like bounce things off of. Cause I felt like alone on this island.
Yeah.
Like, dude, when you're an operator and or a CEO, but an operator specifically, you're like an octopus in a business and you have your tentacles and everything.
Yeah.
Right? And so then it's like, it's so hard to start pulling yourself out. You have to have the competency of like training people. And that's tough. Dude, It's really tough because you're going to go through people over and over and over. So she's like, you got to talk to this guy, Kevin. I think she gave me your number, but you ended up reaching out to me within like 2 days.
Yep.
I'm at the house. I'm building. I'm doing something on, Monday, probably some stupid fucking Zap. And you sent me a video message.
I sent you a video outreach. Yep.
And I was like, that's exactly what I would have done. I'm like, yes. I'm like, thank you, God. I'm like, cool, video back. And I think we hopped on a call, dude. And you were like, hey, it's going to, I think, 1 or 2 calls. Yeah. And you're like, hey, it's going to be $6,000.
Yep.
And I was like, paid, done, let's go. And I just knew right then and there. I think I'll stop there. But a lot of that, it was a lot of building Bake Bros, for like that 10, 12 years to be exact, trials and tribulations in there that I learned so much that I had no idea what I was doing at all, dude. Just building the parachute as we were jumping out of the plane, man, from like licensing to manufacturing to packaging to guerrilla marketing to started a podcast with Derek. Derek and I ran up 100 episodes. We were getting 30,000 downloads an episode, so we were early in the podcast game. It's called Know Your Dose, because like our whole thing was about knowing your dose, because people were fucking off in the edible. People would brag. Okay, last word. That's not true, but it'll be one more story. People were coming into the market, and I remember this one brand, I won't say their name, they came into the market and they had these brownies, and they were calling them the black bars. Do you remember those? And they were 1,000 milligram brownies. Ooh. And I was looking at the unit economics of it, and I'm like, there's no fucking way that you're selling 1,000 milligram brownie, and I think it was like $20. I'm like, you're bringing in cannabis from across state. There's no way.
Yeah.
Just from how Arizona was structured, and I knew every wholesaler. I'm like, yeah, you're not legally. There's no way you can supply that, bro.
Yeah.
I know what it takes. Because like our 600 or 700 milligram syrup that we did, which was a staple product of ours, was like $75. And I was like, what the fuck? So I was like, bullshit. I know what it feels like. I know what 100 milligrams feels like, milligrams feels like. So I got this brownie. I ate this brownie. I broke off a corner of it because I was gonna get it tested, right? And I was like, I think my sister was living with me at the time. But I was going to take it into the lab to get tested. I ate this brownie, dude, within a fucking hour.
You blast off the Jupiter?
Dude, no. No. That's an understatement, okay? The fucking universe unzipped, right? And fucking Zeus pulled me out from my fucking scrotum and just fucking turned me inside out. And so I'm fucking dying, dude. I felt this coming on. And there was this other company, dude, there's so many products coming on the market. Their whole claim to fame was like, try these little capsules. We've got oleic acid or whatever the fuck it was that'll like it'll if you get too high, this will help. And I was like, eat them. I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna go to bed and I'm gonna try and beat this, right? I'm gonna try and like beat the wave, because I'm like, this is already uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so, and edibles are worse for anybody that doesn't know. They're 1 milligram because of a liver enzyme converts to 4. Okay, so one
When you eat them versus
when
smoke
you eat
them.
it. Right? Because of the digestive process.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
And so it's not like smoking a 7 milligram joint or something. No. All day, right? Now it rocks me. But this was a 1,000 milligram brownie. Ate this thing, started getting real woozy, went to bed, woke up. Dude, it was the first time that I had ever had a dark thought of like, I could make this stop. Like, that was dark. Like, oh yeah, bro. It was that. And I was like, whoa. I was like, this is terrible. And I woke up in the middle of the night, dude, and I'm like total panic attack, not normal for me. I'm a vet at that point in cannabis, dude. I'm 15 years as a cannabis consumer, a chronic cannabis consumer at that time, anyways. And I just breathed through it. I just brought myself back to the breath, because I'm telling you, the breath is the anchor to life. It's the first thing we'll do. It's the last thing we'll do, and everything in between. And I ended up doing a cold shower. And I became sober again in about 48 hours. It took a long time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it took a long time. It took a long time. But my sister the next day, she was like, Demo, like, I was checking in on you every other hour because in your sleep you were like,
the pig Latin.
Dude, she was like, you were making sounds that I never heard before. And I went and got it tested. And it ended up being like 1,350 milligrams.
Oh.
So they were 350 over the label claim.
Okay.
Okay, and they were like boasting about it when I reached out to them. Well, here's the problem: when you take a brownie and you give it to grandma, okay, and you're like, just cut it in fourths, like, no, dude. Like, baked goods especially have what are called hot spots. So like there might be
different concentrations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our whole thing with baked grows is like we had dosed edibles. 10 milligrams, one piece. That's it. Our syrup, 1 milliliter, 10 milligrams. That's it. And so it was all about getting your dose, because when you can find that gold zone, man, that Goldilocks zone you mentioned, it is a grandmaster.
It's a tool.
It's a grandmaster plant. I mean, if you go into like the shamanic space or plant medicine space, it is there. There are master plants. This is a grandmaster plant. She can accommodate and support over 750 known ailments. And she can be used in that way, right? And she can also abuse the shit out of you, right? Or you abuse the shit out of her, and she's like, "Let's party," So I wanted to leave off on that story, but yeah, that's what got me here today, and taking all that, integrating it into somatic, which allowed me the ability to get into traditional marketing, has led me to this. Amazing.
Yeah.